Healing from a narcissistic relationship, it's a real journey, and it takes an incredible amount of courage. This isn't just about closing a painful chapter in your life. It's about learning how to write a brand new one, a story that is finally truly your own. So let's walk through the steps to get there. First things first, let's start with a really foundational idea. You didn't fall in love with the person. You fell in love with the mask they were wearing. Just letting that sink in can reframe this entire experience. It wasn't a failure on your part, not at all. It was a deception. We're going to keep coming back to this idea because it's so important. So, where does a journey like this actually begin? Well, it all starts with a single, incredibly crucial moment of clarity. And that first step is all about acknowledgement. Now, this might sound really simple on the surface, but honestly, this is often the hardest part. Admitting to yourself that a relationship you've poured your heart and soul into is actually the source of your pain, that takes some serious bravery. This isn't about blaming anyone. It's about being brutally honest with yourself. It's the moment you stop making excuses for them and start looking for a healthier path forward for you. Okay, so once you've acknowledged the reality of the situation, the next phase is about immediate self-protection. Think of these next steps not as acts of aggression, but as powerful, necessary acts of self-preservation. It is time to draw your battle lines. This next part involves a few tactical shifts in how you interact. For example, a narcissist will often use really intense eye contact as a way to intimidate you. By simply averting your gaze, you take that power away from them. And what about when they call you out? Don't justify your mistakes. When you do that, you're just handing them more ammunition to use against you. It's so much better to just own it briefly and move on. And this one is critical. Stop defending them to other people. When you do that, you're helping them keep their mask on. All of these actions are about cutting off the fuel that their behavior runs on. A narcissist's main weapon is almost always criticism. It's designed specifically to chip away at your self-worth. But here is a really powerful way to flip the script. What if you could turn that weapon into a tool for you? When they shine a spotlight on what they call a flaw, instead of letting that turn into shame, you can see it as a signpost. It can actually point you toward an area for your own personal growth, but on your terms, not theirs. All right, let's move on to the next phase. This is all about taking back control of your own personal story. And to do that, you have to manage the flow of information. It is time to initiate an information lockdown. You see, a narcissist absolutely thrives on information. It's the currency they use to manipulate and control. So by protecting the details about your plans, what's happening at work, and especially the things that bring you joy, you starve them of that currency. This isn't about being sneaky or secretive. It's about creating a safe, private space where your life can actually grow, totally free from their influence. They kept you in the dark, right? Well, now it's about reclaiming your own light. So far, a lot of what we've talked about are defensive strategies. But now, we're going to shift inward. Because the goal isn't just to survive this experience, it's to be transformed by it. And this is the journey of self-discovery. It is so crucial that you let this next thought really sink in. This whole experience was not a failure, it was a lesson. One of the most powerful mindset shifts you can make is to stop seeing this as wasted time or a source of shame, and start seeing it as a difficult but incredibly valuable education. An education in human nature, and maybe most importantly, in yourself. Think about it this way. The narcissist put every one of your perceived flaws under a microscope, all to make you feel small. But you can actually hijack that whole process. You can take that intense focus and turn it back on yourself. But not with their criticism. You do it with your own curiosity and your own compassion. And when you do that, you turn their weapon into a catalyst for your own incredible growth. So, how does this actually work? Well, first, you get really honest and identify the vulnerabilities the narcissist took advantage of. Was it an emotional need, a need for stability? Second, you focus all your energy on healing and strengthening those areas, but purely for your own benefit. This new self-awareness becomes the foundation for building the most authentic version of yourself, one that is completely 100% free from their story. We are now at the final, and I think the most empowering stage. After all the hard work of acknowledging what happened, protecting yourself, and discovering who you are, it's time to cement your new reality. It's time to reclaim your narrative. And this brings us right back to that central idea we started with. So much of the grief and the confusion you might be feeling is tied to an illusion. You didn't love the person, you loved the mask they built for you. Realizing this doesn't just erase the pain, of course not, but it can liberate you. You didn't lose something real, you lost an illusion. And that creates the space to find something true. So, this leaves us with one final, empowering question. The story isn't about them anymore. It's not about the mask they wore. It's about you. The illusion is gone, and you're left with a completely blank page. The narrative is now entirely yours to write.